Welcome to the Traditional Way podcast. I'm your host, Brett Shumway. This podcast is brought to you by the Martial Arts Inner Network, where you can find all things martial arts related on our social media pages and on our website at www.mainternetwork.com, where you can catch up on all the open circuit news with Inside Scoop. You can catch a movie review with Fists, Kicks, and Flicks, or find out what's happening in the Jiu-Jitsu and MMA worlds on the Winner's Circle, plus all of our sport karate videos from tournaments. On this episode, I'm going to dive into the anti-doping measures the WKF uses for its athlete and discuss the most recent ban the WKF has issued reference this program. Let's start with the ban. Top Form's athlete Ali Sofoglu has been placed on a 2-year ban effective March 31st of 2025. This ban was enforced after Ali had 3 whereabouts violations within a 12-month window. His first violation was on May 13th of 2023, his second was on September 21st of 2023, and the last was on October 11th of 2023. The hearing and review process took well over a year, and the final hearing and decision was just handed down on the 31st of March this year, making him ineligible to compete until 2027. Let's start by taking a look at Ali's WKF career. Ali Sofoglu was Turkey's best male kata athlete. He started his WKF career as a cadet in 2010, where he collected 2 European titles before stepping into the juniors. It was there that he collected 3 silver medals, 2 at the European Championships and 1 at the World Championships. He made his progression into the U21 category in 2013, where he would turn those silvers into gold, collecting 2 European titles and a world title. Also, as soon as he turned 16, he started competing in the Veterans Division, where he would have sporadic success. Ali would struggle with consistency in the Veterans Divisions for a couple of years in the male kata division, as the JKA Shotokan stylists would see medals here and there, but not enough to become a huge threat within the division. It wasn't until the fall of 2019 that Ali would find his stride within the division, where he went on a medal streak that lasted 3 years and 10 events. Coming off that streak is where things got interesting for him. Coincidentally, it was the same time where he started having his issues with the anti-doping program that started to occur between him and his events. After missing the quarterfinals in Cairo in 2023, he went on to reach the finals in Rabat in May, where he would finish second. The first whereabouts violation occurred 1 day after that event. The next event in Dublin, he made the quarterfinals but would lose the first match of that round. His second whereabouts violation occurred 2 weeks after that event. His third violation occurred 10 days before the 2023 World Championships, where he would surprise the world and win the world title after having a pretty subpar year. Now, to many Shotokan stylists, this was a huge win, since there hasn't been a Shotokan male world champion in kata since Luca Valdesi in 2008, and it gave a lot of people hope that we could see a resurgence of Shotokan within the WKF once again. Now, following the World Championships, Ali would go on to win a silver and bronze in the Premier League in 2024 and win another European title, which, all things being considered, was another good year for him. It was the first 2 events of 2025 where he would not make it out of the elimination rounds that would get people started to wonder what happened to Ali. And also, this would also be right around the time the WKF stopped allowing him to compete as the investigation into him came to a close. The decision by the WKF to ban Ali was not taken lightly, and he was given his due process in this decision through hearings and appeals. It did take them over a year to make their final decision, and he was afforded the opportunity to compete during this process, as he did compete all the way up until March of this year. But let's dive into the actual violation. Ali violated what's known as the whereabouts requirement. In this requirement, it states that an athlete must provide on a quarterly basis their home address, email, and phone number, an address for overnight accommodations, regular activities such as locations for training, work, school, etc., obviously a competition schedule, and most importantly, a 60-minute window for each day where they'll be available and accessible for testing. For this, the WKF uses WADA, or the World Anti-Doping Agency, and WADA does have a website and mobile app for athletes to input all of this required data. Now, the first question that I instantly thought of is, what happens when an athlete travels? These athletes travel all over the world. For example, what happens if one has to fly from New York to China for the upcoming World Games, which could take up to 20 hours of travel? Well, the tracking system does allow for travel and is specific that you can only use the travel option if you are unable to provide a 60-minute window or overnight accommodations. And that option, they do have that option in the program, so they have thought about that. So let's dive back into the actual whereabouts violation that Ali was penalized for. Now, there has been no release of information of which of the whereabouts requirements Ali failed to report. However, Ali continues to fight this decision made by the WKF legally. He has stated publicly on Instagram that he believes that these violations were procedural errors within the system's software. However, the decision that came down did not hesitate to strip Ali of his world champion title and his 2024 European title, as well as all medals and points that he occurred starting on October 11th of 2023, the date of his last violation. Now, I know a lot of people are going to think that these requirements for these athletes are extensive, and to some degree, I do agree with you. However, with the documents available on to the athletes on the WKF's website, they all know the deal, and the amount of athletes competing in the WKF, there aren't as many violations as one would think. Since they implemented the anti-doping procedures, Mr. Sofoglu is only the second athlete to be suspended due to whereabouts violations. So I'm not sure how far he's going to get on any of his attempts to be reinstated. Additionally, when you look at the time in these violations, it doesn't look good for Ali. Now, I want to be very clear. I am in no way stating that I believe he was or was not using a prohibited substance. What I am saying is that the whereabouts violations occurrence in relation to the competition does give the perception that something could have been going on. I hope that is not the case because, and I can state officially that he has never failed a drug test during his tenure in the sport. On another note, I want to take the time to highlight some of the athletes that did well at the USA Nationals that took place in Texas this past week. You did have some athletes that showed up and won that were no surprise. For example, Sakura Kokomai won the women's veteran kata, which at this point, I think if she didn't win, it would be a shock. But in that division, Maddie Kenaway took bronze after losing in the second round, and then she fought her way through the repechage to take home the medal. Additionally, Mason Stowell took home the bronze in the men's veterans division, with his only loss coming to Gakuji Tozaki, who won the division. The highlight of Maddie and Mason is big as they are the top two adult Japanese Okinawan competitors on the open circuits right now. Forging a place for themselves in both circuits just adds to their great years thus far. Lastly, from Nationals, I want to highlight the team that has some open circuit ties, as the American team won the 14-17 female team kata division, with its members consisting of Bella Solis, Sienna Chu, and Emerson Cottingham. Also, I would love to hear from you guys on your thoughts on the WKF using WADA, and do you believe it's fair to expect this type of accountability that they are requiring for the athletes competing? Feel free to message me on either Instagram or Facebook. I would love to hear your thoughts. And with that, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Traditional Way. Make sure to tune in to next week's episode, where I'll bring you the results from the African Continental Championships. Until then, continue to support the Martial Arts Inner Network by liking, sharing, and commenting on this and all of our content. Till next time, guys.